a last-gasp strike in the 5th minute of stoppage time, a counterattack that came from nowhere, and a World Cup debut that Ghana will remember for years. Welcome to FairPlay, Football AI Review. Group L at the 2026 World Cup was always going to be brutally competitive, with England and Croatia waiting in the wings. For Ghana and Panama, dropping points in the opener was simply not part of the plan. Both sides knew that a win here could be the difference between reaching the knockout rounds and going home after 3 games. The pre-match narrative centered heavily on Ghana's goalkeeping situation, and it became a talking point far sooner than Carlos Queiroz would have wanted. Lawrence Atizigi started between the posts but would not finish the first half, departing injured at the break and forcing an early hand on one of Ghana's 5 available changes. Panama, meanwhile, arrived in Toronto as a tightly organized CONCACAF side with real belief, having qualified impressively through their region with only 1 defeat in their last 8 outings before this tournament. Queiroz set Ghana up in a 4-4-1-1 that was designed to be compact and defensively organized, with Jordan Ayew acting as the lone reference point and Kamaldeen Sulemana providing width and pace on the left channel. The double pivot of Elisha Owusu and Caleb Urenki in central midfield was there to protect the back 4, win second balls, and shift play quickly into the channels. The system prioritized structure over possession, and Queiroz was content to invite pressure and hit on the counter. Panama's Thomas Christiansen Tarin lined his side up in an expansive 3-4-3, with Giovanni Ramos and Cesar Blackman operating as attacking wingbacks providing width across the pitch. Cecilio Waterman and Christian Martinez flanked a central forward in a front 3 designed to stretch Ghana's defensive line, while Jose Cordoba and Andres Andrade were tasked with building from the back through their superior technical ability in tight spaces. The structural mismatch was immediately apparent. Panama's wingbacks against Ghana's wide midfielders created a persistent overload down both flanks. Blackman on the right and Ramos driving from deep were regularly finding space in behind Ghana's wide line of 4, which sat too narrow to adequately cover the width Panama's 3-4-3 was designed to exploit. Ghana's response was to defend deeper, which in turn conceded even more territory to Panama. Panama dominated the opening exchanges almost completely. Their 62% possession and 583 total passes tell the story of a side that controlled the ball and the tempo from the very first whistle. Ghana were pinned back, relying on disciplined defensive shape and hoping to create moments on the transition. It was tense, attritional football, played under a light rain at BMO Field in front of just under 43,000 fans. The first genuine moment of danger in the first half came through Panama's combination play in and around the Ghana penalty area. Their 60 dangerous attacks across the 90 minutes, compared to Ghana's 35, underline just how relentlessly they probed and pressed. Waterman had a shot on target from close range before being replaced, and Blackman worked Orlando Mosquera's counterpart in Ghana's goal more than once. Benjamin Asare, the substitute keeper who came on at halftime, produced 3 vital saves that kept the scoreline level and kept Ghana in the match. A key chance for Ghana in the first half came through Antoine Semenyo, who drove past his marker on the right side and forced a sharp save from Mosquera. Semenyo was a consistent threat all afternoon, taking 2 shots and winning fouls in dangerous positions, but Ghana's final ball repeatedly let them down. The XG of 1.39 for Ghana ultimately reflected a team that created chances in short bursts rather than through sustained pressure. At halftime, with the score goalless but Panama clearly the better side, the tactical picture was stark. Ghana had earned the right to remain in the match through defensive resilience, but the Atizigi injury had cost them a substitution they needed, and Queiroz knew he had to change the dynamic in attack. Panama, meanwhile, had to be frustrated that their territorial dominance had not translated into a lead. The second half began with Benjamin Asare between the posts for Ghana, and the young goalkeeper immediately justified his inclusion. His 3 saves across the second period were not routine stops. They were interventions that kept Ghana's World Cup dream alive when Panama looked most threatening. The question at the restart was whether Ghana could find a way to turn defense into attack with more conviction. Quiroz moved decisively on the hour mark, bringing on both Isahaku Fatawu and Brandon Thomas Asante simultaneously in the 58th minute to replace Ernest Nuama and Kamaldeen Sulemana. This double change was the tactical pivot of the match. It injected direct pace and running power into Ghana's attack and immediately put Panama's back three under a different kind of pressure, more vertical, more direct, harder to contain in transition. Panama responded in the 63rd minute by making their own double substitution, withdrawing both Waterman and Christian Martinez and introducing José Fajardo and Azarias Londoño. Christensen was gambling on freshness and forward aggression to break Ghana down, and the changes briefly shifted momentum back in Panama's direction, with Ismael Diaz, who came on for José Luis Rodriguez in the 74th minute, forcing Asare into a sharp stop in the late stages. Caleb Urenki received his yellow card in the 16th minute for a serious foul play challenge on Yoel Barcenas in midfield. It was a reckless tackle from a midfielder who had been deployed partly to provide defensive protection, and it meant Urenki had to manage his game throughout the 90 minutes with the risk of a second booking never far away. The irony is that he would ultimately be the man who settled the match. Cesar Blackman picked up Panama's first booking in the second half after a persistent and increasingly frustrated defensive performance. The wingback had been one of Panama's most effective outlets throughout, completing 3 tackles and operating across 56 passes, but the yellow card added caution to his game at a moment when Panama needed him to be brave. Carlos Harvey's late booking deep into stoppage time, after a foul as emotions boiled over, summed up Panama's desperate final minutes. The decisive moment of this match came in the 5th minute of second-half stoppage time, and it was breathtaking in its execution. Antoine Semenyo broke clear and found Thomas Asante on the left flank with a precise release ball. The Coventry City man beat Cordoba to the ball, drove into the 18-yard box, and slid a low pass across the face of goal. Urenki arrived at the back post and stabbed the ball over the line. A striker's finish from a defensive midfielder, a World Cup winner in the 95th minute. Ghana's ball possession of 38% is one of the most telling statistics of the first round of this World Cup. Quiroz never intended to dominate the ball. He intended to defend compactly, frustrate a technically superior side, and strike on the counter when space appeared. That strategy, uncomfortable as it looked for large stretches, produced exactly the outcome he designed it for. The 83% pass accuracy was solid given the low volume, and every decision in possession had a purpose. In terms of attacking threat, Panama's 11 total shots and 4 on target to Ghana's 8 shots and 2 on target reflect the territorial dominance of the side in blue. But XG tells a more complicated story. Ghana's 1.39 XG against Panama's 0.9 suggests the Black Stars' chances, though fewer, were of significantly higher quality. Asare's 4 saves overall were decisive, but so was Ghana's clinical edge when the moment finally came. Defensively, Panama outworked Ghana in terms of raw numbers, 29 tackles to 16, and an organized back three that was rarely beaten directly. But the critical failure was in the final 5 minutes of stoppage time, when Cordoba was caught in a foot race with Thomas Asante on the left and lost. One defensive lapse in 95 minutes proved fatal. Ghana's defense, by contrast, was resolute. Jonas Adjate made 3 tackles and contributed alongside Jerome Opoku and Gideon Mensah to a collective effort that kept a clean sheet despite facing 60 dangerous attacks. The standout performer for Ghana was unquestionably Benjamin Asare. Thrown into the biggest stage of his career in the 46th minute without warning, the goalkeeper made 3 saves that were not merely competent, they were match-defining. He commanded his box, communicated with his defenders under pressure, and gave Ghana the platform to win. Without him, this match ends Panama 1, Ghana 0. For Panama, José Cordoba was everything they needed from their defensive organizer for 89 minutes, completing 101 passes, the joint highest of any player in the match, and marshalling the back three with composure. His concentration lapse in stoppage time will haunt him, but for the vast majority of this contest, he was exceptional. The player who struggled most was Jordan Ayew. As the lone forward in a 4-4-1-1, his role demanded physical hold-up play, intelligent movement, and an ability to bring teammates into the game. With only 18 passes and no shots on target before being substituted in the 87th minute, he never found any connection with the midfield behind him. Panama's center backs dealt with him almost entirely without difficulty. Queiroz got the big calls right, the pre-planned compact defensive shape, and then the double substitution that changed the dynamic of the match. His willingness to accept being dominated in possession and trust his players to execute a one-moment counter was either brave or reckless depending on the scoreline, and it paid off by the thinnest of margins. Christensen, by contrast, made the right changes but slightly too late, and his wingbacks were exposed on the final counter precisely when Ghana most needed them to be. The head-to-head record between these two nations is extremely limited, with this being the first meeting at a World Cup and one of very few competitive encounters between them. There is no deep rivalry here, no psychological weight of history, just two footballing cultures colliding on the biggest stage. Ghana now hold the psychological advantage, however small, and that could matter if their paths cross again. Ghana arrived in Toronto in excellent recent form, with 5 wins from their last 7 matches, including convincing victories over Central African Republic by 5-0 and Chad in both legs of qualifying. The team is settled, tactically disciplined under Queiroz, and capable of grinding out results. The concern going forward is the goalkeeper situation. If Adi Ziggy is unavailable, the pressure on Asare will only grow. Panama came in on a strong run of their own, with 4 wins from their last 5 CONCACAF fixtures before this tournament, including a 3-0 victory over El Salvador. But the quality jump from CONCACAF qualifying to a World Cup group that includes England and Croatia is enormous, and the cracks showed tonight. Their possession dominance was real, but it lacked the cutting edge needed to convert territory into goals. In Group L after Matchday 1, England lead the table with 3 points and a +2 goal difference following a 4-2 win. Ghana sits second on 3 points. Croatia and Panama are both on 0, with Croatia carrying a -2 goal difference. Ghana's position is genuinely promising, but the road ahead is ferocious. England away on the 23rd of June, and then Croatia away on the 27th. Those fixtures could hardly be more demanding. England at a home World Cup, with Harry Kane in goal-scoring form, will be a completely different proposition to Panama. Croatia, despite their group stage defeat, remain one of the most experienced and tactically intelligent sides in international football. For Panama, hosting Croatia first and then England gives them a final chance to salvage the group, but they will need to find a clinical edge they simply did not show tonight. The qualification picture for Ghana is bright, but not comfortable. 3 points from the opener is exactly what was needed, but Queiroz will know that defending 1 win against England and Croatia is unrealistic. His side will need to take points from those matches, not just hope to survive. Panama, mathematically, are not dead, but they need wins from both remaining games and are facing opponents who will be heavily favored. My prediction is that Ghana and England advance from Group L. Ghana's resilience, organization, and the momentum of a last-gasp winner give them a psychological edge heading into the tournament's most demanding test. Panama's lack of a cutting edge in front of goal will prove fatal across 3 games at this level, and Croatia, though they have more quality than their opening result suggests, face an uphill struggle on goal difference. Ghana 1, Panama 0 is a result that will be remembered not for its elegance but for its drama. A goalkeeper injury, 90 minutes of patient defensive courage, and a stoppage-time strike from a midfielder who had been yellow-carded 50 minutes earlier. This was football at its most nerve-shredding, and the Black Stars are the better for it. Stay with FairPlay. Football AI review as the 2026 World Cup continues to deliver. Do not go anywhere. That's the FairPlay verdict on this one. If you want more analysis like this, follow us, find us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at FairPlay AI, and follow Anthony personally on X at Anthony Fairplay. See you next match.